Good day, everyone. You're welcome to Melchizedek Global Music Ventures, also known as Meglo Music Ventures. So today we are continuing on our musical literacy journey to professionalism. Last session, we stopped at names of the 5 lines and 4 spaces on the bass tab. And today, we will continue with relating musical staff to musical keyboard. A musical keyboard is one of the most common musical instruments. It consists of black and white keys. You can see the white keys and then the black keys. The black keys are arranged in groups of 2s and 3s. And so we're going to be relating them to the staff. Now, the first line on the bass staff from our previous session, we said is G. If we are to trace it to the keyboard, it is this white key between F and A. And if you look at below that line, G, we have another space, though it's not part of the staff in a way. But one thing is that we still make use of other sides of the staff that does not have the 5 lines and 4 spaces. What we do is that we need to use those places, those points. We use ledger line. How we use ledger line for this middle C between treble staff and bass staff. This middle C is the midpoint between the treble staff and the bass staff. And as you know, we make use of lines and spaces in music. So as our staff, if you look at the last line on the bass staff is line 5. What you follow immediately cannot be line again, you have to be space. So this is the space here. And then you have to represent the next line with a ledger line for our middle C. Now, this middle C is how we represented it on our grand staff. But for clarity, that's why we put it in 2. We put 2 here just to understand that coming from the bass staff, the middle C is above, and coming from the treble staff, the middle C is below. So these notes are the same thing. So now we have space, line, space, before we now get to the first line on treble staff. So now the last line on bass staff is A, that is the 5th line, and we can see it on the keyboard, see, the white key before B. And so we have to connect this, the treble staff and the treble staff and the bass staff together. Like maybe let's use the example. Maybe you are going from a village to another village. This is treble village and this is bass village. We have to, and there's a river, big river in between. So we have to put something so that we can easily pass through. And that is what this middle C and all the notes here are doing. So this is A. The following space will be B. And we got that from the fact that the keyboard makes use of only 7 letters, which is the 7 musical letters, is a musical keyboard. And one thing about keyboard is that just like numbers, we have millions of numbers. But if you look at them, they don't the combination of them to form various numbers does not exceed 0 and 9. So in music, we don't exceed A to G. So when we are relating them on our keyboard and we get to the end of the first 7 letters, we go back to the next note, next alphabet in that group of 7 letters. So after E, so we've used F before, but after E is F. Now we now have F to F, which is F octave. F octave means, octave comes from the word octagon, means 8. And if it means 8, that means our note that we are saying F octave should be 8. So from this F to this F, if you notice, is 8 notes, and then we call it F octave. From this F again to the following G, that's the space, the fourth space on the bass staff. So A, we go back to A because after G is not H, it's A in music alphabet. So this fifth line is A. So we go to A. So this is G, this is A. And then after A, we have B. So this space here is B, followed by this ledger line, which is C, a line. And then after this middle C, the next space is D. And then we now get to E, which is the first line on treble staff. You can see how we linked them together. That's how they are linked in music. And we can others. After this E, we have F, which is the first space on the bass staff, and we can see this is F again, the white key before the three black keys. So anywhere you see the three black keys, know that the white key in front of them is F. And then following after is the second line on the treble staff, which is G. Then we go to second space on the treble staff, which is A. And then we go to third line on the treble staff, which is B. And then the third space on the treble staff, the third space on the treble staff is C. That is the white key before the two black keys, followed by the fourth line on the treble staff, which is D. That's following C on the keyboard, followed by the fourth space on the treble staff, which is E. You can see how they connect. Now, from this F to this F is F octave. And that is what we use for our scale too. But we can't say this one is F major now, which we understand as time goes on. We can't call it any scale because scales follows a definite pattern like we'll be learning very soon. The definite pattern of major scale is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now, if we follow the pattern from this F, like I will explain very soon, to this F, we call it F major scale. So that is that about relating music keyboard to musical staff. You can see from F to F, one octave, from F to this F, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the same thing, just repetition for our understanding. 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is another F octave. Then from here to another F, that's another F octave. And if you look at the keyboard, you see F from F, one octave, F from F, second octave, and F to F, third octave. So we have 3 F octave on the grand staff. Also G, if we trace it the same way, you can see from G to G, one octave, G to G, second octave, G to G, third octave. So whenever we see a note on the staff like this one now, you know that it's E. You should know where it is on the keyboard. So we need to be conversant with this. So let's move on. Then names and values of musical notes with their equivalent rest. We make use of notes in music. So, and the first on the line is semi-brief. The British name is semi-brief. The American name is whole notes. And this is the symbol of the note. This is what we have on our staff, like we saw on the grand staff. This is what we have on our staff. And it means whenever we see it on the staff, it means 4 beats. That means sound that, let that sound, not stop for the next 4 beats. And how do we count our 4 beats? It's simply by counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've counted 2 semi-briefs like that. So whenever you see this note, it is called semi-brief in British and American. It is called whole notes. It is 4 beats. And then this is the equivalent rest. When you see this is the rest and this side is represented on our staff. When you see something like this, it means keep quiet for 4 counts. In music, we make use of sound and silence. So you make if you see the rest, the silence for 4 counts. If you see the notes, make sound for 4 counts. And that goes for meaning, which is half notes. That's the American name. And this is the symbol. It means sound that note for 2 beats. For example, 1, 2. This is the equivalent rest symbol, and this is how it is represented on the star. Now, if I want to make this sound now, da for meaning, for the count of a meaning, it's going to be, see, da, that's the note I want to sound. But the count is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will make the sound like this. Da. You can see I heard the sound for 4 counts. Da. If it is for 2 counts, 1, 2. Da. Da. That is 2 beats. And this is the equivalent rest. So we also have for crotchets in British, quarter notes in American, and this is the symbol. It is 1, 1. I've made crochet 2 times now. 1, 1. That's I've made crochet 2 times. Now let me make a sound for just 1 crochet. It's like this. Da, da. I made it twice. Let me make it for 1 now. 1. Da. That's all. I've made for 1 count, 1 beat. And this is the equivalent rest. You will understand better and better when we get to the practical aspect of it. So then the quiver is called the eighth note, and this is the symbol. It's to stand for half beats, which we will understand better in the practical session. And this is the symbol of the rest. Now we will notice there are 2 symbols for crotchet. Yes, at times they make use of this, but this is actually fading out. It's now more of this. So if you look at modern day composition, they make use of this sign as the rest. However, if they use this symbol, we should know the difference between this symbol and the quiver symbol. The symbol for crotchet is facing the right side. You can see it's facing the right side. While the symbol for quiver is facing the left side. The symbol for crotchet is facing the right side. The symbol for quiver is facing the left side. This is it. And so we go to semi-quiver, which is 16th note. So this is the symbol, and this is the beat. This is the rest symbol. We now go to demi-semi-quiver, which is 32nd note. This is the symbol, and this is the beat value, while this is the rest symbol. So we'll understand why they call it whole notes, half notes, quarter notes in the next session. So we now go into musical notes diagram. Now look at this is semi-brief, as we learned from the preceding page. This is semi-brief, and in semi-brief we have 2 meanings. 4 counts for 4 beats. We have 2 beats, 2 beats. So we have meaning. Also, that's why they call it half notes. The Americans call it half notes. Also, this meaning can be subdivided into 2 crochets. So this is crochet, 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 crochet. So we have 1 semi-brief, 2 meanings, 4 crochets, and that's why the Americans call it 1 semi-brief is whole notes. Meaning is half notes. Crochet is quarter notes. Quarter notes. And then we can also divide the crochet into 2, which is quiver, and we get 8 quavers in 4 crotchets. However, we get 8 quavers in 1 semi-brief, which is like the reference point. And so we call this one the quaver. In American English, we call it 8 notes. Then it can also subdivide the quaver into semi-quavers. Then we have 16 notes. So we call semi-quaver 16th notes. We can also subdivide the semi-quaver into 2. That is demi-semi-quaver. And we will have 32. That's why the Americans call it 32nd note. Because you can find 32 of this demi-semi-quaver in 1 semi-brief. So we have, you can go through this question. You can put your answer in the comment section. We'll be glad to attend to you. So we'll now go to values of dotted musical notes. Dotted musical notes, dotted notes are simply notes that have dots beside them, e.g., dotted semi-brief, dotted meaning. This dot simply means half the value of the note preceding the dot must be added to the note values. E.g., semi-brief is 4 counts. See, this semi-brief. Dotted semi-brief will be 4 counts for semi-brief plus meaning, which is 2 counts and half of semi-brief. So that this dot is representing half of this preceding note, which is semi-brief and is 4 counts. So this is meaning now. This dot represents meaning and is 2 counts. So the value of the dot beside the semi-brief, which is half the value of the semi-brief, that is meaning. Therefore, the value of dotted semi-brief is 6 counts. For example, dotted semi-brief is 4 of the semi-brief plus 2, which is half of semi-brief, which is meaning, is 6 counts together. We have more examples: dotted, meaning, dotted, crotchet, dotted, quaver, dotted semi-quaver. So this rule also applies to notes with more than 1 dot. More than one dot. The value of the next dot will be half of the value of the preceding dot. For example, this semi-brief has 2 dots. It means this dot is half of semi-brief, which is meaning, and then the next dot is half of this dot, representing meaning. So that means this dot, the second dot, is crotchet, which is half of meaning. So double dotted semi-brief will be 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 6, which is 7, not 6, which is 7, unlike dotted semi-brief, which is 6. See more examples. Then we have dotted notes and their equivalent rest. So this is dotted semi-brief, whole notes. So this is the symbol, dotted semi-brief, dotted whole notes, dotted whole notes. So, and the rest is also has a dot. So this is dotted semi-brief rest, dotted semi-brief rest, dotted semi-brief, dotted whole notes, dotted semi-brief symbol, dotted semi-brief rest symbol. So this is how it is represented on the staff, and that goes for other parts of the music. Dotted meaning, you can see. So this one now, dotted semi-brief, is 6 count. That means you are going to hold the rest too. If you are observing this rest, you are going to keep quiet for 6 counts. Now you need to be cautious, because if they dot the notes and in the music, the rest, they didn't dot the rest, that means you will not observe dotted rest, because at times they make the rest to just be the value of the normal semi-brief. So if there's no dot there, don't bother to make it 6 counts. It is 4 counts. So it is the presence of this dot that makes it dotted semi-brief rest that you can't repeat. Okay, so the dot here also goes for this whole note. So this is dotted semi-brief, dotted whole note. You can see for other notes of that table. And the same rules also apply to double dotted notes. So this is 7. The rest here, because it has double dots, it's also 7. But if it doesn't have, then it is, you observe what they put. If they put only the rest, you observe it, like 4 counts for semi-brief. If they put 1 dot, that's 6 counts for the rest. If they put double dot, that's 7 counts for the rest. It's the same rule that applies. So you can also go through these questions and paste your answer in the comment section. So this is where we are going to end our session for today. Next time we'll go to keys and key signatures. Thank you for joining us. See you in the next session. Thank you.